Wealthy husband gave a cheap ring. My wealthy husband gave me an engagement ring for $150, and the reason for it is shocking. My fiancé is quite well off, and although I earn less than him, I certainly wouldn't be destitute without him. He rotates through several very expensive watches for work. We are both financially literate and don't shy away from spending on important things in life. We share financial information openly, so I know he has no secret debts or anything of the sort. The ring is cute and understated, but more like a dainty stacking ring than an engagement ring one would want to show off. The stone, and I doubt it's even a diamond, is quite small. It's not a family heirloom. When friends or relatives get married, there's always that excitement of sharing the news, and inevitably someone asks to see the ring. Then everyone admires it, and it's a pleasant moment. When I showed my ring, the atmosphere became awkward. Everyone feigned excitement for exactly as long as necessary and then quickly changed the subject. I don't blame my friends, they just don't know how to lie. I want to clarify that I didn't expect a ring worth 3 months' salary or some luxury wedding. But this is an item I will be wearing every day for decades, and a ring is generally considered a symbol of love. I know not everyone thinks so, but we did. Or at least, I thought so. And I really don't think I'm overstepping by viewing the ring as a long-term investment, considering how much it will be worn and the sentimental value it holds. Shouldn't it cost more than a gaming console? Am I the jerk? Edit. I'm getting a lot of the same questions, so I decided to answer them here. My fiancé and I had briefly discussed general style, and he has access to my jewelry box, so he generally knows what I like. Since the price of the ring wasn't particularly important to me, we didn't discuss a budget, which I now realize was a mistake, but I didn't think it could become an issue. The price isn't that important in the sense that I don't care if he spent $1,000 or $100,000, but this ring looks cheap and low quality. The understated reaction of those around me to my ring was only part of my post. The rest is his radical stinginess on an item I will wear every day for the rest of my life. The ring doesn't feel like the symbol of love traditionally associated with engagement and wedding jewelry. The point is that I have a very wealthy fiancé who invests more in the latest gaming console than in a lifelong symbol of our love. To you, a ring might just be a ring, but unless otherwise discussed in advance, it would be strange to consider it a disposable item. In my culture, an engagement ring is also worn together with the wedding band, not replaced by it. We share financial information, and I saw the charge from the jeweler on the bank statement. If he paid extra in cash, then he overpaid. Considering he has given me more expensive jewelry before and knows perfectly well what I wear on a permanent basis, such a significant lowball for such an important item feels completely unexpected. Now I realize we should have discussed the price issue beforehand. I think what hurts me more isn't the budget itself, but what it means to give such a cheap ring when money is clearly not an issue. If we were worse off and had to save up for $150 for a long time, I would be absolutely thrilled with such a gift and would show it to everyone, but that's not our case at all. Previously, he gave me diamond studs and other fine jewelry and was willing to spend more if it was something for both of us. For example, an unexpected weekend trip for a holiday. He doesn't throw money around mindlessly, but you couldn't call him greedy either. To put it bluntly, this is a cheap ring in both appearance and price. Yes, theoretically, he could have spent hours searching for a ring from an independent jeweler that looks nothing like what I own or what I've ever mentioned liking. And at the same time, in a much lower price range than we usually spend even on ordinary accessories. However, I don't think that's the case. For me, this is about more than just him getting the jewelry style wrong. I also find it unpleasant that some people here act as if being unhappy with the ring means being unhappy with the engagement itself. I never said that. Life isn't a game of all or nothing. I can be unhappy with the ring while still being madly in love with my fiancé and excited about the prospect of spending my whole life with him. We will definitely discuss this, but I realize the topic can be sensitive and wanted to get an objective outside perspective first. I will update this post after the conversation. Update 1. My fiancé came home, and closer to dinner, I started the conversation with the words, "Honey, I wanted to talk about the ring," but before I could finish, he just snapped. He started yelling, F*******ing finally, and shouting about how I ruined everything by dragging it out for so long. In short, he intentionally bought a crappy ring from a jeweler with bad reviews so that when I got upset about it, he could dump me under the pretext that I'm a gold digger. As it turned out, he was having an affair. It turned out COVID decreased his working hours rather than increasing them, with a younger model whom he said he deserved. But he knew that if he just ended everything when everyone loved me so much, it would ruin his image, so he needed to make me the guilty party. He was sure that this way out of the relationship would bring him sympathy, and his speech contained a lot of phrasing that clearly wasn't his own but was borrowed. I'm almost certain it came from an overly influential friend from work with whom I've had disagreements before. The changes I attributed to work stress now seem like something more to me, and I feel terribly ashamed that I didn't see it sooner or couldn't somehow prevent this nightmare. I'm not going to dig deeper into this, but I know my now ex-fiancé wouldn't have done or said what he did without bad influence. This doesn't mean I forgive him. I consider him incredibly weak and spineless for doing this to us. But I also doubt I will maintain contact with many of our mutual friends once the dust settles. I left in the middle of his tantrum at the 15th minute and am currently living with my mom. I haven't cried yet and it seems I'm still waiting for everything to suddenly click into some logical picture, although I realize that most likely it never will. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post and shared their thoughts. I think no one could have predicted how it would all end based on the information I gave. There is a plus in all of this. I no longer have to wear that crappy, ugly ring. Please stop hitting on me in private messages. I am completely uninterested in any dating right now and will not be sending nudes to get revenge on my ex. Update 2. His family found out about our breakup, though I think very superficially. I haven't reached out myself and no longer communicate with people I considered close friends or potential family. His absolutely insane plan to save face turned out to be in the category of so bad it's almost good. Many simply don't believe he is even capable of such a scheme and therefore decided he didn't do it. I tried to maintain relationships with a couple of mutual friends, but eventually stopped communicating after they refused to acknowledge what he did. I didn't need them to take sides, I just wanted friends from whom I wouldn't have to hide a significant event in my life. As of at least a month ago, he was still in a relationship with his mistress. I saw a photo, and she was wearing very expensive and terribly tacky jewelry. But it's none of my business. In the photo, they looked happy, and seeing his dimples again in that context was very hard. So no, the pain hasn't gone anywhere. I haven't met a prince on a white horse since then. In general, I've made some not so great choices and now I'm alone again. But on the bright side, I am finally truly living through and processing all of this and moving toward real healing, which should have started much earlier. I'm okay. Not great, but better than I was. I am still incredibly lucky in life and try to appreciate what I have rather than obsessing over what I don't.